A lot of renewed requests after my recent videos for how I make my homemade Proxxon hot wire table tools. I have a fence and a circle cutting jig. They're getting pretty old, so I made 2 new ones and I filmed it. And here's how you can make your own. And remember that our sponsor is Heroes Horde for you 3D printers out there. Excellent selection, including all True Tiles lines. First, we'll build the rip fence. Now, I'm assuming if you're watching this, that means you have access to a Proxxon hot wire table, which means you probably have access to 1-inch XPS foam. That's what this is. First, we need to cut out a rectangle, 12 inches by 5.5 inches. Try and get it as square as you can, but if it's not perfect to the millimeter, it's okay. This rectangle is the vertical piece. This is what your work will ride along as it cuts. We need another piece for the horizontal bit, and this can be literally any shape. You want it to be a pretty good size so that we have some structural rigidity, but it really doesn't matter too much. I kind of like the look of the angle, so I'll do this. And then find something like a thick book or a CD jewel case, or what I'm using here, a Windows 7 package. Something that you know is going to be perfectly square, 90 degrees, that you can use to set these. And then hot glue the 2 pieces together like this. Since it's hot glue, you have plenty of working time, no need to rush. Just get the glue on, connect the 2 together, and then push the vertical part against your square device and just hold there for a couple minutes till the hot glue is totally hardened. This is the part that does need to be pretty good, but there is one more chance after this to make it laser perfect if you need to. Now just cut 2 reinforcement blocks that we're going to glue to both sides. These can be any shape, but you do want them to be like as big as possible to maximize surface area and strength. And as you're hot gluing these on, again, push against your square device to make sure everything cures perfectly. Now, this surface is foam in a hot wire table, so we need to protect it. Use some paper or cardboard, cereal box would work. I'm using graphics medium chipboard, really doesn't matter. Just some kind of smooth paper product and glue it on there. Also, there's a good amount of friction trying to move something along that XPS surface, so this will help with that as well. Alright, now the tricky part. Look at this channel on your Proxxon table. If you measure it, you'll find it's about 8 millimeters wide, but the tool itself is not accurate enough to reliably cut that. So here's what you gotta do. Set it as best you can, and then try a first cut. Just make a cut. See if it fits. You will probably find that it doesn't. Okay? Both hands on the tool, carefully loosen, and just smidge it over, just like 0.5 millimeter. Tiny amount. And try another cut. If it's still too big, repeat. This is what I had to do. I got it on my 3rd one. There we go. Very nice. Slight amount of friction. It's not loose in the channel. Perfect. This will work. All that's left now is to cut it down to the proper height and bias it a little bit less. Obviously, if it doesn't go all the way to the bottom, it's fine. Now we need to attach this to the fence. But, and this is absolutely key, this needs to be perpendicular to the rip fence face. Now if you have a speed square, you could use that to score a line, or set the fence such that the fence surface is down on your table and use the table as a jig with your corner device from earlier. This is easier shown than said, so look, here's what I'm doing. There we go. And for posterity, let's double check how good that was with the speed square. Perfect. Nice. Let's test it in the table. Slides along very nicely. I don't feel any play, no jiggle, no looseness. Let's try a cut. Fence is done. Let's make the circle cutting jig. I'm going to use double corrugated cardboard and cutting out a rectangle that's, I think it was like 8 by 11 inches. It doesn't really matter what it exactly is, as long as your corners are squared up and it's something close to 8 by 11. If you need a refresher on how to ensure that your working material is square, I did a video for that a couple years ago. I'll throw a card in the upper right corner. You can check that out. I'm going to draw a ledger line about, I don't know, 3/4 inch in from an edge, something like that, and attach the foam rail runners. Earlier, when I was reducing, trying to get the right thickness, I cut a whole bunch of these once I found it, just to be safe. All right, let's put the jig onto the table, into the rail, move it right up to the wire, and mark where the wire is. We need to translate that mark to the underside of the jig, so let's measure how far it is from that edge. For me, it was about 2.5 inches in from the long edge, but it'll vary for you depending exactly where you set your rail runner. Flip the jig over, measure that amount, and put the mark on the bottom. Same for the other end, and connect them with a line. And put that line on the top of the jig as well. Now, on the underside, from the edge that's going to be approaching the wire, measure in 6 inches exactly and mark. Now, from that 6-inch mark, we're going to draw lines back to the edge on either side of the main line by a couple millimeters. All we're doing here is cutting out a channel for the wire to go into. Flip it back over to the front. Mark out some inch lines going all the way in as far as 7 inches. And at that 7-inch mark is where our needle will go. I just use a wooden toothpick. Pre-drill it with the toothpick, sort of wiggle it around to excavate some of the material in there, and then inject hot glue into the hole. Because it's corrugated cardboard, there's plenty of room underneath. It'll spread out, and it's going to make this very strong. Actually, those 1-inch demarcations, you need to draw lines across the whole jig. I forgot to do that. And then the way it works is, see this dark line on the Proxxon? That's what you line up your jig's lines to set the radius of the circle. Let's go ahead and practice one here. Got my barbarian arm in the way here, because I'm bad at videography. There we go, perfect circle. Wonderful. So it took me about 15 minutes total to make these tools, including stopping for filming and lighting and all that stuff. And these 2 tools can carry you far. They're all I've ever had. However, they are completely useless if your wire is not perfectly vertical. Check your wire for verticality. Again, find some object that you know is a perfect 90 degrees and put it on the deck. See if the wire touches it. This wire is not even close to vertical. I'll slide it over a little bit, check again. Still not there. Slide over some more. There we go. Perfect. Again, crucially important. Jigs and tools are useless if the cutting implement is not straight. Hopefully you found this helpful. Thanks for watching. I'm Wylock. Make things, play games.